All right, we should be good to go now. All right. Dee, just I don't know if you are seeing video or just listening, but so we are starting with the accounting department's FY27 operating budget.
Okay, thank you.
So we can start with personal services, and in this budget is included the town accountant, who is me.
Oh, Don, can you mute?
Uh, okay.
And then I have three clerical union employees that are listed here. The clerical union's contract is still in place for FY27, so those rates were able to be updated. We, as you know, are carrying a 2% increase for non-union personnel at this time. We also have a temporary help line item of $1,500, and this really isn't temporary help. It is more if our C9 goes on vacation and the C8 gets out of grade or sub pay for working in that role. So that's what that equates to.
You are not in the supervisor's union.
I am not, no. Okay, so then we will go down to contractual services. We have zeroed out the equipment maintenance office. We tend to not use this line item, and so we are not going to move forward with budgeting the $600. Then we have equipment rentals. This line item is used for copy machines, multifunction machines within town hall. I don't have the history on why accounting pays for them, but we do. Then we move down to the tuition line item. So this line item is used for training and education. That's really what it should be called, but it's called tuition. And so it can be for going to the Munis conference, going to other conferences within Massachusetts, or GFOA's conference. So that is represents what some of the true costs would be for training and education. So we were budgeted at 500, and we are asking for 4,000 for that, as the Munis conference is pricey. Let's see. Then we have printing and binding. So this is for, various letterhead and whatnot. And we tend to meet that 900, and even last year we spent almost double. Then we have professional services audit. This is for our annual single audit, as well as our regular audit, which we use to have a management letter as well as the financial statements for the town. And incrementally each year, the audit engagement increases. We currently are using CBiz. It was Powers and Sullivan, then it went to Melanson, and then now they're all merged into CBiz, which is a nationwide audit firm. Then we have postage. We mail out.
So the on the audit, with all the capital expenditures for the schools, is that audited separately?
For the fixed assets?
No, so the construction for the new school.
Yep. So they would only do a sampling of invoices from that, where we have some funding from MSBA. The MSBA audits to make sure that everything is accurate. So they would only do bits and pieces of it. It wouldn't be just the whole school project.
Right. So this municipal audit, so is there a separate audit for that project?
No.
they do a sampling of it, they include it, they roll it into this,
Yes.
but then the MSBA does their own version.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, they do. And there's quite a few holdback years that MSBA waits to, and holds back some funding, and then they will do an audit. So any large school building project, we have to keep those records for longer than our regular vendor payments.
Okay.
So under postage, the accounting office mails all vendor payments and checks, 1099s as well. And then we have the telephone line, which has been transferred to IT. Then we have travel inside the Commonwealth. So this could be, I'm a certified governmental accountant, so I need to go out to school out at UMass Amherst that's part of the MMAAA association at least once in 3 years. Typically, you should try and go every other year. So that would cover mileage and lodging.
So, and just a question on the postage. So you said the checks are mailed out of the accounting department, not the treasurer's department?
So they mail them, but we get charged for them.
Liz, on the equipment rental,
Yes,
is that something that's determined by contract and billed
Yeah.
monthly?
it's a lease. Yes.
Do you have room to give back there at all?
We potentially might. We did get new machines this year. So in conjunction with IT, we're untangling that. So they came, maybe 2 months ago, the new machines came. So it's leases for the multi-function.
Oh, so you haven't really, so that actual spend through December isn't reflective of the new lease price.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Well, maybe just make a note to go back and see if
Exactly. Yes. Because last year and the year before, it was exactly the same. So IT and I are going
Great.
through,
Okay.
going through that.
So, and then going back to the postage, so things like W-2s and things like that, is that attributed to HR or does that go through accounting also?
So W-2s, HR, payroll handles mailing those. So that will come under the human resources budget. Accounting mails 1099s.
Yep.
So
Okay.
we do have the ability to look into doing electronic payments to vendors. We have that ability within our ERP system. So that's something that is on my agenda.
Okay.
So then we have office supplies. We have reproducing and computer. So this line item is used to buy the 1099 forms, the envelopes for them. We have to buy them from a specific vendor. It's also for anything other that would be a form like that it comes out of that category. I'm still trying to wrap my head around about what reproducing in computer actually means, but that's what we historically pay out of that. Books and periodicals. There are some legal books that have been bought in the past. So that's that line item. And then we have dues and memberships. So there's an Eastern Mass Accountants and Auditors Association, and then there's the Massachusetts Municipal Accountant and Auditors Association, and then there is Mass Government Finance Officers Association. So those are all included in that payment. So we'll just go back up to the top. So the major drivers of the increases, one is contractual for personal services, and then under contractual services, we have the audit increase as well as the tuition training education piece.
So given all the changes in the ownership of the audit firm,
Mhm.
does it make sense to put that out to bid? Or are they the only game in town, or?
So that is something, and I know that Kevin wasn't too happy with them for the delay of getting the financial statements for FY24. There was a long lag time, but they were in the transition of a new system upgrade, and we weren't the only community that was behind. I mean, Ed Bean in Somerville used CBIZ, but he has now switched audit firms.
Yeah.
So there is only a small handful in Massachusetts that are left that aren't nationwide. So after FY25, we potentially could do an RFP for outside audit firms.
I suspect it's pretty comparable in cost. It's not going to save a lot, but
You don't have to go out, do you?
No,
So
it's not required.
Yeah,
But
sure, it's a good exercise.
yeah, I mean, communities do just so that there's a better response.
Yeah.
But you can just get 3 quotes. You don't have to.
Mhm.
That's accounting. Any questions from anybody else? Christian, D?
I think the only one I had, I think it might have been on page 2 or sheet 2, I guess. On the tuition, I know we have 4,000 in there. Looks like we spent 1,000 to date. Years past, there hasn't been much. Is that, I guess, just lay out like the $4,000 on the tuition side? Like, are you expecting to spend that next year for more
Yes.
classes or like a conferences, whatever?
Yes, for sure, for training and education. Last year I went to the Tyler Technologies Conference, which is we have an off branch of one of their products, Munis, which is our ERP system. That was paid out of IT last year because we didn't have those funds within the accounting budget. So that conference doesn't take place usually until April or May. And so we need to start developing a training and education budget. Last year was my
I
first.
figured it's you're new and Kevin was doing this, so he didn't need the tuition line item. So yeah,
Kevin had seen the world.
yeah.
so. And does that include primarily yourself, or does it include your staff, or?
No, really, it's primarily myself. We are going to start building a training and education budget in other departments as well, so that, even the clerical union employees or supervisory union employees can have those things offered to them. So I know that's one of the things that HR is looking forward to do. And I don't know, Dee, if you want to speak about it.
Sure, there really was no professional development done on really any level, except for police and fire. They obviously have their prescribed training programs. And so that's something that we're looking to enhance. It's good for people to get out of Wakefield and see how things are done in other communities. And I'm a strong believer in professional development. And so I've been asking my department heads to make sure they're looking at not only their own professional development, but professional development for their staff.
Okay. All right. We will move on to
Is
conservation.
there any tuition reimbursement outside of police and fire?
There has been in the past.
There has been in the past.
Yes, and we do not have a tuition reimbursement policy, so that is something that is also going to be looked at under HR.
Okay.
And that's very important to have if we're going to offer tuition reimbursement to employees.
I was approached by an employee to receive tuition reimbursement, but I denied it based on the fact that I cannot do that without a policy.
Yep.
We have conservation. So in conservation, there is a 30-hour-a-week employee, and then there is a 10-hour-a-week employee. So, when the budget was done for 26, it was higher than what the employee was entered, like how what he was hired at. So that's why there is a decrease in personal services. There's no elimination of an employee or hours or anything like that. It just has to do with the rate of pay.
This was the employee that was approved at town meeting?
Yes.
This that wasn't originally in the budget, if I remember right.
Well, is this that they were gonna do a part-timer and they ended up doing a full-timer? Is that what happened?
So I don't know all.
You weren't here, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know all of the history, but that was all that I could gather from it. And that this employee, as you can see, total personal services here. This is another example of where the personal services breakdown for actual salaries do not match the top. So really, the personal services line item for FY26 should have been $76,885 instead of 81. So again, this is factors in a 2% increase as these employees are non-union and not part of any supervisory union or anything like that.
Okay. And is it possible to get the date of hire date in there?
Yes, I can do that. Yes, he was hired in August of 25, I believe.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm. So everything else is level funded for this budget. So.
On the personnel services, the actual expenditure, normally it's on sheet A, sorry, up at the top.
Oh, you want the top?
Yeah, I'm I see 42 as the actual through 12/31. Normally it's like what, half, normally gets split half and half. So are we expecting that to be like 84 for this year? And then a decrease for 27, or?
So what's happening within conservation is they are working on a bylaw, and there are many, many meetings. So the meeting secretary is going to be more than the 4,800 that is budgeted. For example, they had a meeting on Saturday, they have a meeting tonight, they have a meeting on Thursday, and she gets paid per meeting.
Okay.
So it may be something
Right.
that we need to look at, but I don't know, Dee, if you want to chime in on that, but they've been having many, many meetings.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to concentrate and drive at the same time. Not a good combination. Yeah, so I actually attended the meeting on Saturday and reminded the chair of the Conservation Commission that scheduling meetings on the weekends has financial implications for the town because one of the employees is unionized, the other employee is part-time. So they need to be a little more considerate and contact me if they ever want to have another weekend meeting. I strongly encourage them not to, because I would really like my staff to enjoy their weekends. Hopefully hopefully they got the message, but I am continuing to monitor them. Their meetings are going on longer and more frequent than I would like, but that is something that I will address with the chair.
Thank you.
Godspeed, Dee.
Sure.
So this year, that is something that they've just been having many meetings every month. So we hope that that won't be the case for 27. Typically, historically, for the meeting secretary, it has been the budgeted amount. So you might be hearing from us in the spring for a reserve fund transfer.
Sure.
Okay. We have, let me see, emergency management.
Based upon some of the letters in the item, there seems to be a lot going on with Conservation Commission, so.
We're appointing a new member on Monday, so I'm really excited because it's just been a 3-member commission, and I think there's 7 is their charge. I could opine on why I think there are only 3 members. I won't do that, but we're trying to get additional members. We're asking different citizens that we know that are engaged and are environmentally savvy. We're asking them if they would be interested, but we really do need to get more members on that committee.
I don't know why it's not.
Pick you up.
No, it's just not.
Scott has spent a lot every week.
Is that okay? So see, I don't unfortunately don't read the item anymore, but I saw the Facebook activity. For whatever reason, I'm in that Facebook group.
Just bear with me. It's not pulling it up. Let's see. Here we go. Emergency management. So, the emergency management department is staffed with one part-time employee, and that is reflected in the personal services line. We can go down, and again, non-union employee, we're carrying a 2% increase over FY26, and the expenditure line items are level funded. One thing that I'm sure the emergency management director will talk about on Monday night and at FinCom on Thursday night, not this Thursday, but next Thursday, is we switched notification systems. So that might be something that he discussed, but there is no increase within that line item. So we just switched vendors.
But I remember Tom's great. Tom's got, a great resume. What is, I know, he had a very busy job, probably, working more hours than he put in for during COVID and what have you. What is he up to now? Like, what do you use emergency management for? It kind of varies from community to community, how much you put on somebody in that position. What's he doing there?
So, I mean, I saw him today. He came up and talked to me for a little bit. And so right now he's gathering all expenses for the past snowstorm, because there's potentially a chance to get FEMA reimbursement.
Yeah.
So he, needs to compile all that data with all the departments, DPW, the light department, the fire, police, whatever they contributed to the storm. So he works on that. He works on emergency preparedness.
Typically, the emergency management director is the fire chief. It is very unusual that it is a civilian that is not, a permanent employee of the town per se, and I mean a permanent public safety employee. He's spent a lot of time on ARPA, but as we all know, ARPA is coming to an end. So it'll be interesting to see if he needs to, or we need to keep him at that same number of hours per week. Really, the emergency management director is both reactive when we have an emergency and proactive with training, which is why typically it is the fire chief, somebody who is, at work every day, knows the apparatus, knows the situation and all of the players in an emergency. So again, that is something that we're going to be looking at, because I think when ARPA management goes away, that's a huge portion of what he's been doing for the last 6 years.
Yeah, there can't be much ARPA left. I hope. Yeah.
All allocated and on course to be spent.
So it's nothing. I mean, and it's not to say, Dee, I hear your point, but it's also not to say that, that's the only way it has to be, that somebody from the fire department has to be emergency management. But maybe your point about hours is probably, that's sort of where I'm headed. Is like, do we need this much, do we need this much out of that department anymore?
Yeah.
Yes, and it currently reports directly to me, which again is a flaw in the organizational structure. I will be recommending that this position be under the fire chief.
Yeah, sure. That's great. That makes a lot of sense.
Right. But during COVID, wasn't a lot of the emergency management stuff health related?
Yeah, right. Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's right. Again, it's not, I think, again, we got a great result out of this
Yeah.
department and the particular individual serving the role, doing it maybe a little uniquely, which is, not a bad thing. But yeah, I think changing times here.
I mean, I'm grateful that he handles all the ARPA because that used to
Oh, yeah.
fall on me
Or the expenses
as the finance director in North Reading. So that and the CARES Act was quite a beast.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Yep.
And in North Andover, it was the economic development director that handled the
Yeah.
ARPA funds. So
Right.
every community does it a little bit differently.
Exactly. Exactly.
now we will move on to veterans. We Okay, so as most of you probably remember, for FY26, we created the Veterans Director to be a Wakefield employee versus having shared services. So we have a part-time admin that works under veterans. As well as our veterans agent. So that became a new personal services piece to the Veterans Department's budget. And again, carrying a 2% increase, and for the clerical union, half-time veterans, half-time council on aging, that is part of the clerical CBA.
And the veterans agent is full benefits.
He is, yeah, but he doesn't
Yeah.
take any, but yes, he's eligible. Okay, so we will move down to contractual services. This might not be the right budget. Oh, nope, it is. I'm looking at professional services being 0, and I thought something was wrong, but no, that used to cover the cost of the veterans agent. So that is one of the changes. We also reduced vehicle allowance. That would be for mileage if the agent, went somewhere in town, or if he had to go to the VA or what have you. So that is that line item. We also have reduced printing and binding, and we have reduced postage. And again, the telephone has been moved to the IT's budget. Okay, so we have office supplies. You see a large expenditure there. That was to buy pins and I'm not sure if I know the right terminology, but there's some type of coin that is given out. So that really, it was and for flags. So that was, a one-time large expense. There won't be a need for that next year. And the shortfall that would be part of this budget will come from the surplus in veterans benefits. And veterans benefits, we will go up to the top, and I will which is labeled recipients here. So we are level funding at the 80,000. There are some new cases that are coming online when we met with the veterans agent. And there's 2 other unique issues that are going to be coming up that funding will be used for. We did significantly reduce the veterans benefit line item for FY26 from 25. And then Memorial Day and Veterans Day are level funded.
Is that all Chapter 115 benefits in the recipients line?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Meaning it's reimbursed by the state?
At like,
75%.
yeah, but they lag pretty good, right?
Yeah,
So
sometimes it's 3 years.
that's a real goofy operation, I'm sure, for you. But yes, how many years?
Sometimes I've seen 3 years,
Oh my God.
but it typically should be a
Yeah.
year.
That's why
So
we appropriate for it up front, right?
yes. So
Yeah, I think that's fine. I mean, the trend across the state for Chapter 115 has been continually going down, but also like I know they've been working on outreach out there.
mhm.
And I mean, if we can find people who are not getting benefits who should get
Mhm.
benefits to leave room for growth there, I understand. There's
Yes,
something to
and
monitor.
he exactly, yes. And he, does a great job and is very thorough with getting, the veterans what they deserve and are allowed. So
Does he have a flag budget? I know that's like a thing like every year.
no, he doesn't. So
Because I wonder at some point that $5,000 will probably not be it'll happen again.
yes.
But the way he does is fine with me.
So they also, at the rededication of the monument, they also distributed these terrific books.
Mhm.
I don't know if it was included or if those were provided by the state.
They may have been, I'm not sure.
On the anniversary of Vietnam.
Mm.
And they were terrific books. I actually had Vietnam vet staying with me this weekend who went through that book and said is extremely well done.
Mm.
So yeah.
Okay. We'll do so we have created a human resources department budget sheet where in the past any expenses and the personal services piece of the budget was part of the group insurance budget. So this is going to be standalone. So I'm going to look to you of how you would like to see things displayed, as it's a new creation, but we do have some history on, actual expenditures for personal services and whatnot. So this is a good exercise so that for Monday night and for next Thursday, we will have a format that works for you guys. So I just wanted to preface that before I started.
And can I just say one thing? I'm getting ready. I just arrived home safely, so I'm going to be getting out of my car. So it'll be like a 2 or 3 minute lag. But also, the reason that we created this budget was for transparency. The group insurance the health insurance budget is a massive budget. So it's very easy for expenses to get gobbled up under that. And so we wanted to separate this out. And, as an HR director for many, many years, it's always good practice for HR to have its own budget. This is where going forward we'd like to have some training and professional development money. I'm used to HR being the custodian of those and also the one department that is responsible for creating the training plans, creating professional development plans for employees. So we figured this was a good time to separate out that budget, establish it, and then look to build it in the coming years. So give me 5 minutes and I'll be back on.
Thanks, Dee. Okay, so the HR department is staffed with a full-time HR director, a full-time payroll and benefits manager, and then an HR coordinator position that's 35 hours a week. So yes, it's full-time, but it's not 38.5, which is the payroll and benefits manager's hours. So that may be,
This one was the one that was created last year,
it was created
2 years ago.
for FY25. Yes, yes. So we will go down and look at that. Well, give Dee a minute. Okay, so this column, salary wage FY26, is it comes straight from the group insurance sheet. Is accurate as to what is taking place. The transfer amount here is from water and sewer. In the group insurance budget, there are many, many transfers. There's transfers from school lunch, there's transfers from water, sewer, and the light department. This transfer that was part of the personal services piece of the group insurance budget was from water and sewer. Currently, the HR position is vacant. And so these are the breakdowns. You'll see that one employee has longevity. The previous HR director also had longevity, but that will not be part of the employment piece going forward for whoever is hired. So,
Was that a retirement or
no, a resignation,
resignation?
which is effective Friday the 6th.
Okay.
We just received it last week. So that's the personal services piece. So
The transfers, how is that allocated? Is it allocated based on
a
the
percentage.
of employees, or is it?
The workload, typically these transfers are handled as indirect costs normally, and they're not just like applied to the departmental budget. You have a whole calculation of them, but this for the past 5 years has been increasing 6%. So that's the methodology we're using right now. But at the last finance committee meeting, Ed Bean brought up a good point that we, should be looking at developing a process for all the indirect costs. So that's something that I'm going to do. And these transfers directly to a budget will not be taking place. They'll just be a large indirect cost that gets transferred to the general fund revenue from all of the enterprise funds. And we're not going to just see them within particular budgets. So with this piece, I don't know how everybody would like to see the historical information. I can easily do that for personal services. I just don't know. ID.
Hi, my laptop is stuck in a whirly twirly thinking pattern, so I'm I'm on my phone.
That's fine. I don't, if you can do it in personal services, Liz, then it's easy enough. I mean, it makes sense to me that it would be easy enough to just put in the actuals
Yes.
there.
Yeah, whatever you're pulling out of the GIC that was there before, just put it here, is I would think.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is like your part two sort of, you don't have a lot going on there. So
No, but the only thing is I don't know if it skews thought processes with individuals because the HR department is a newly created budget.
It might be good, Liz, to I don't want to say combine this with GIC for like one time this year, just be like, hey, here's the net of us breaking out HR as its own. Because obviously we'll do them at separate times. So
That's a good way to put it, Christian.
yeah, just kind of present them both at the same time anytime you present them. Is that kind of what you're saying?
At least just for this year, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Next year you can get away with, we'll have some history on there and a reminder of that we broke it out. But yeah, this year it's probably good to to your point, Evan, put the personnel services history in there from the GIC, but then also um, show it net. So that way it's like if
Yeah.
there feasibly there should be, right, like a 340K reduction in GIC
Yep.
result of this and
Yeah.
340.
Yeah.
So it won't be necessarily that, only because the contractual services, material supplies, those were not identified within the group insurance budget, but personal services are identified in the group insurance budget. So it will be very, straightforward for personal services. For the expenditures, they haven't had line items for training and education, for software, support costs, for office supplies, for the posters that need to be posted, required by, law. You'd be surprised, those posters do cost a good amount of money.
But it's still in that budget. It might not be
Yeah.
broken out, right? But well, I guess what I'm getting at is like we should be seeing a 340K decrease without, all else equal out of the
Right,
GIC.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it will be somewhat around that area.
Yeah.
There is a new software that is being used currently to help us with collective bargaining, and so that has a new support costs going forward. So
Sure. It's not gonna be apples to apples,
exactly, it's not going to be, but it will be very close.
Yeah.
So
It is a little challenging because the GIC is probably one of the last budgets that we
Yes.
get to do. So, moving this part up to now when we're reviewing staffing and everything else, it is a challenge that you're not looking at GIC at the same time. But
So we could look at this again when we do the
Yeah.
GIC.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
do.
Yes.
Package them together.
and
Just
before
from like a presentation perspective.
and always revisit it before you guys vote.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just
Yep.
like thinking about like the public, especially like town meeting, like you're gonna want to show them
Right.
pretty blatantly what's going on.
Yeah, we
Yes.
wanted to get your opinions too on how to actually do that. So that's why we kept it here, because we wanted to talk it through with you guys.
Yeah, no, I think that's great, and it's not necessarily like the easiest solution. I commend you two for doing this too, because this isn't the only place where you've looked at sort of like reorganizing the budget in a more prudent way that adds a level of complication and work that I would have in fact, in my own town this year, I decided not to tackle some of these things where stuff was in weird places.
Yeah.
I just said I'm just going to leave it apples to apples this year. So I commend you guys for doing this. It's definitely a more, you say transparent, not to imply that there was a lack of transparency in the
No.
past, but it is clearer. I mean, it's a more itemized, detailed look at, and a more transparent look at, and every year going forward, you're going to have a better look at historical data, right?
Yes,
For one more year.
exactly.
So I think it's great that you're doing this when you
This is-
really didn't need to.
This is only baby steps. We have a lot more that we want to do, and we have a lot more how we want to present the budget annually. But as you said, there's not enough time to do what we're used to doing. So this is the beginning, and I appreciate everybody bearing with us. Okay. So software maintenance, it's more software support. And so that is for DocuSign. They do, and this may be changing, but we do some paperwork within the HR department that gets sent out to new hires or, what have you for changes. So that's the cost of that. But again, that is being captured in this departmental budget for FY27. We're hoping to gather all of software maintenance contracts, support agreements, and capture those within the IT budget. Training and education, there's a lot of, as you mentioned, a lot of training and education that we have not been doing and should be doing, and we should be, having these more frequently. So that is a rough estimate of what some of the courses that the HR staff can take. Professional services, and this is one that I'll look to you, Dee. I wasn't really sure on it, on the the new software that we're using for collective bargaining. Our first year of it was a discounted price, but going forward for the fiscal years, I did an estimate. I don't have a true estimate from the company at this time, but I can get that.
Yes,
Do you want
thank
to talk
you.
about that at all?
Sure, yeah. So we have contracted with Lytics, and this is a project that I was on the beta testing team when I was in North Andover. It's software that allows us to, in real time, calculate collective bargaining agreements, not only internally, but also do analysis on what our comparable communities are paying. Those are data points that Liz and I will use when we go into bargaining to say, okay, you guys are at like the 90th percentile of pay. So therefore, you're getting paid really well. Reasonable COLA is in your future. We can have the data to provide to them to show that. And then we can also show them what, every percentage points means when we are looking at the budget and whether or not we can afford the contract. So this is how I've been doing collective bargaining for, 28 years now. You want to cost out the contract as precisely as you can. People retire, people come on. I've never gotten it to the penny. That's always been my goal. But these are large budgets that we're bargaining with right now: police, fire, police superiors, DPW, and the supervisors. So these are the highest paid people in town. So Liz and I are really cognizant of the fact we need to not only be conservative, but be very precise as we can with our cost estimates, and the software will help us do that.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we
I mean,
also
that eliminates a lot of manual labor in terms of data collection and calculation. Do you guys
exactly.
look at it like, does the software allow you to say, okay, here's what 2% COLA would do to this unit in terms
Yes.
of dollars versus 2.5, 3? You can sort of,
Yes.
I used to make my CFO do that manually, so that's really nice.
So that's what I'm used to
Yeah.
is I've created many, many spreadsheets where they're plug and play. And so you can see, okay, if I give 2.5%, what does that do, across the board? How does it impact the base and all the other components of salary? So I'm used to building those spreadsheets. So this is really awesome from what I've seen the software already do. So
So,
And I'm sorry, go ahead, Dawn.
so is it a software that these are license fees, or is it consultation services provided as part of the collective bargaining?
So
it's
this,
more, yeah,
oh,
go ahead, Dee.
I was gonna say, so it's
No,
for
it's
three, it's for 3 seats of this software called Lytics. And Lytics is in like every school department. They started as ARCS Education, ARCS Ed, they were called. And so this is for 3 seats of that. But the 20, it's not all for the software. The software, I believe we got a discount because I was
Yes.
actually in the beta. I was in the beta group, so we got a serious discount.
Mm-hmm.
The owner of the company who I met with when I came over to Wakefield was gracious enough to give us a deeply discounted
Mm-hmm.
rate for, I believe it's 3 years, Liz, we have the discounted rate. So that 20, I think less than half of that is for the Lytic software. The other is because we just finished doing an HR audit, which we needed to hire an outside consultant to do. And from that audit, the audit was 18 pages long. We have a long list of items that need to be addressed in HR. So we're going to need some outside services to help us do that because I don't think we have the capacity internally to do it. I'm fairly confident that we'll be able to get a very good HR director in the role. But then again, I do not know when he or she will be able to start and how far into the fiscal year we will need to keep the consulting services. Worst case scenario, we could then use maybe some of this for training. But we really do need to bring in outside help. I've built HR departments before, but not as also being the town administrator. So it's not something that we have the internal capacity to do.
So it's a combo, Dawn.
So I'm just wondering if it makes sense to break out the licensing fee from the services. That's all.
And put it maybe in software maintenance or sure.
Yeah, that's that we can do that easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, so postage, this is the W-2s. And, you know, I was speaking with the payroll and benefits manager this morning, and we are really looking towards having things delivered electronically. They are delivered by email and part of our employee self-service, but we also still mail the hard copies. So we're hoping in the near future that we can have an opt-in or opt-out, you know, but legally we need to mail them unless there's a sign off saying, yes, just I'll take the electronic copy. For myself, I prefer the electronic copy. But then I can access it in various places whenever I may need to pull up my tax documents. Travel with inside the Commonwealth. It could be for mileage, for some of the MMHR meetings that they have, and they have them across the state. So we're hoping that the staff will be attending some of those.
It'll be my expectation that the new HR director does participate in professional development through the MMHR.
Yes. Office supplies, this I was able to identify as part of the group insurance budget. So that is a reasonable estimate of what they spend. Again, it's a 3-person department. So similar to accounting, they spend close to $1,000 a year on various office supplies. This reproducing and computer, this is buying the W-2 forms and the envelopes. You'd be surprised at how expensive it is for the custom forms. And then dues and memberships. So this I was discussing as well this morning, and it would be to join the MMHR, which is almost close to 300 a person, I believe. And then if there was, if they were going to belong to SHRM, you know, Dee would be the insight on that. But this is what some of those organizations for HR charge to belong to.
So SHRM is the Society for Human Resource Management, and they have different levels of certification, but they also, with membership, have they have a very, very robust website, and they have a lot of excellent materials. Much of it is geared towards the private sector, so it's very important that, you know, an HR director stay close to the MMHR, which is strictly municipal, but the SHRM has some excellent resources. I'm still a member, even though I'm not an HR director, and I'm also a senior certified professional through SHRM. Many of your high-level HR directors on the municipal side are also SHRM members and also certified.
Okay, so that's the
So the expense that we currently have for managing unemployment insurance, don't we hire a firm
that comes out of the unemployment budget.
so we have that in the unemployment budget. So, and we're comfortable that the unemployment budget's the right budget for that. So
I'm not sure on that because we may be looking for another TPA. So I don't know what that cost would be, but
yeah. Okay.
We need to go out to bid for our general insurances, property casualty liability, auto. And so one of the things we're going to also wrap in is unemployment TPA. I know that Maya offers unemployment management along with all of the other laundry list of coverages. I was the risk manager in the last 2 communities that I worked in. So that'll be part of that bid. I have not been very in my short time here. I have not been pleased with the product that we've been getting from our current TPA. So I think that's something that we'll be looking to roll into that bid.
Okay. Because we're self-insured for the unemployment. So
yes,
Correct.
Yes. So we may be discussing unemployment further with the finance committee.
okay.
That will need to be taking care of some business soon because we are accruing interest every day.
Yep. And the workers' comp is that handled differently too? So,
Yes, that is as well. So
So we
there's
have,
two pieces of that.
sorry, Liz. So we have three different vendors for what I was used to packaging under Maya. So we have a different TPA for unemployment. We have a different TPA for workers' comp. And then we have a third different TPA for injured on duty management. Best practice is to bundle those together. So that is absolutely what we're going to be looking for. While I'm not dissatisfied with the TPA for injured on duty for police and fire, because I've worked with this particular company in the
Yeah.
past, it's just economies of scale. And if you can throw more business at one, you're going to get a better rate than if you're spreading it out amongst three.
yeah, okay.
So I will make those updates, and I'll make sure that that all these budgets that we reviewed today get uploaded in GoVenda so that all the other members of your committee can see this. We also had on the agenda for today town council's budget as well as health and human services. So town council's budget is not ready yet. And Health and Human Services, we are in discussions on funding and offsets with how the opiate funds will be offsetting the health budget for FY27. So we need to push that out. So those are in the works.
So by way of just a little bit additional explanation, Liz did a great job. So historically, a majority of the opioid funds have been used to fund salary. We chose not to do that in North Andover because, as you know, salary is reoccurring, opioid money is one time. So if we were to continue to fund the positions in the health department at the rate that they were being funded, we funded in the past, we will exhaust our opioid funding. So we won't have any funding for programming, which is not how the opioid funds were supposed to be distributed. Also, you're not supposed to supplant salary money with opioid money. And so we need to fix some of those technical things as well. Again, in North Andover, I was the opioid fund manager. So I have a little bit additional information about how the opioid process should be run. So we need to meet again with Anthony Chi to make sure that we are going to be responsibly funding these positions, but also being able to leave money in that opioid fund for what its intended purposes was. We are going to get the funding for several more years. However, the funding each year is not consistent and it's not predictable. So again, the state cautioned towns from using it for salary money or supplanting for this exact reason. And so now, Liz and I find we have to kind of unravel this and make some decisions about how we're going to do it going forward. And we just did not have enough time to do so before this meeting.
Okay, fine.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Okay.
We'll see you again then.
So,
It would be brief.
we didn't review the treasurer's thing at subcommittee here. It went
okay.
directly to the finance committee. So, last week.
Okay.
So, I asked at the finance committee, but I didn't really understand the difference of what the paymaster role was in the treasurer's department versus the position that's there.
Do you want me to take that one, Liz?
Go for it, because I don't know what it means either. So
there are a group of positions like that are called clerk to board, I guess you would. And this pay stipend has been, I guess, in existence forever, and no one has stopped to ask the question, is this part of this person's essential job functions, or is this something that is so special that they need to have a stipend for it? So this is something that we're going to have to look at. This position is covered in, or by, I should say, a collective bargaining agreement. However, this stipend does not appear in any written form that I could find. It is not in the bargaining agreement. It is not in the employment manual. So we need to figure out if this is something that we, add to the person's base and it goes away, or we have to negotiate over it because it was never negotiated to begin with, along with all of the other clerks that support boards. So Liz and I have been meeting with the union and the union leadership and the AFSCME representative to kind of untangle this, because you really, per chapter 150E, which is the bargaining statute, you are not supposed to have bargaining unit employees doing non-bargaining unit work. And this is exactly how this was set up with these, 10 employees, Liz? So
Yes.
there was a direct deal made between management and the employees as to what they were going to get paid to cover meetings. And this paymaster stipend got kind of mixed into the whole bucket, I guess we'll call it. So we need to unravel that whole issue. So we are actively working on that. But for now, I can't take away, a pay type from someone without doing the
Right.
analysis. So Liz and I are hard at work on that as well.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, it's a small amount, so it's, it's not going to break the budget, but it was just kind of an odd situation. So,
Yeah, and it's Liz and I are both, you need to prove to us why you deserve this pay. And if it is just, pushing a button, or it's just something that is very routine, I don't see a reason why someone should get additional pay for it. I need to be convinced, and I haven't been as of yet.
okay.
Yes. So,
Maybe put the, if you want to put the treasurer's agenda, if we meet again on the treasurer's budget on the agenda. I don't know if it was on this one, but,
Yeah.
we can, if we haven't reviewed it, that's fine.
yeah, it was not on today's agenda, but it can be. I know the treasurer did attend finance committee.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of went through everything extensively.
Yeah, it
but
did,
it's
I
kind of
was more of like an open meeting law thing. If we're gonna talk about it, it should be on the agenda, that's all.
Oh,
The way I deal with agendas is like, if we might talk about it, I throw something on there.
yeah.
Just to be safe.
Older new business.
Not
Yes.
that we have
No,
to.
you're right. Nope, you're right.
But it doesn't matter to me. But I agree. I thought it was pretty extensive on Thursday.
And I have a
Okay.
much different opinion on elected versus appointed treasurer. Dawn, I think you might share my my opinion on that.
Yes.
There was quite a long explanation by the incumbent, but I have a very, very different point of view, which I will share at the appropriate time with the Charter Review Committee, which Dawn,
Yes.
you're on.
So, yeah, I just didn't want to, we had enough to cover at the meeting. I didn't want to get into it any further than we already got into it. So,
And when you didn't
So-
speak, I assumed that was why.
Yes.
I share the same sentiment, honestly. So, okay. Anything else?
I'm good.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn. Thank you, folks.
to adjourn.
Thank you.
So-
And I
Thank you, Christian.
Okay.
Thank you, Dee.
Yeah, I apologize for not being there. My meeting went over, so I was on
No
the road
worries.
for most of this, but
No worries.
all right. Well, thank you guys
Thank you,
very
folks.
much.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a great
Bye.
night.